Welcome to Lose, Live, Learn, the weekly show for busy and ambitious women who understand the importance of their health and strive to create harmony within their body, business, and beyond. Learn how to navigate those transitional moments from marriage, motherhood, to building a profitable business, climbing the corporate ladder, and watching your kids grow. I'm here for you every step of the way. Let's get started. Hey friends, welcome to this week's episode of Lose, Live, Learn. This week, I have a very special interview for you. This lady is a former client and a friend of mine. She is someone who I have been able to work with really closely in a one-on-one capacity. But in addition to that, we have formed a friendship thousands of miles apart, and we have been able to really support each other in our own ventures. I have known her since 2012 when she started following me on Facebook, and it's so amazing to think that 5 years later we are still friends, we're still in touch, and she is going to be sharing with you today the amazing transformation that she has made over the last few years, how she's gone from burnt out and blah and body shamed to feeling really empowered, having the lifestyle that she really wanted, working so hard for it, and is now just an amazing athlete and doing amazing things in her life. She has got an amazing goal that she's going to be sharing with you today, and I am so excited to share her story with you. So without further ado, I want to introduce you to Shannon. Welcome to episode number 19 of Lose, Live, Learn, everyone. I have got the absolute pleasure of interviewing someone who has been a friend for, well, I think we just celebrated like a 2-year friendship on Facebook, but that's not necessarily true. So this lady, Shannon, and I were connected back in 2012, I want to say.
I think that's right.
Yeah. Someone shared my transformation story, and she found me through that, and we've kind of been connecting ever since. And I refer to you as my ride or die. Like, you are someone who has always been here for like 5 years since before I was doing anything, before I was like, oh yeah, I have a business or a personal trainer or any of this stuff. So it's really cool. And we have been lucky enough to work together. We've stayed in touch. And I consider her a friend, and it's so much fun to get to have you on because you know so much about what we want to talk about today. And today we're going to be talking about stress and impact of that on your body, over exercising, which is a real thing, burnout.
Everybody say hello to the cat.
Oh, okay. Real life, guys, real life. I'm not editing.
Yes, I'm sorry.
She always did that every time we go on the phone.
Yes.
And we're going to be talking about stress, over exercising, the impact this has on your body, but also like the change, because there has been a huge transformation in your life over the last, I guess, 12 to 18 months.
Yes.
It was. And it's just a whole adventure, which I'm so glad I got to be a part of and watch. So we're going to discuss that today. So I would love for you to just go ahead, introduce yourself, tell everyone who you are, what you do, where you're from, and all that good stuff.
Okay, well, my name is Shannon Grubbs, and I live in Hazel Green, Alabama, which is just north of Huntsville. Most people know Huntsville because we're referred to as the Rocket City. This is where NASA is. This is where Wernher von Braun came to develop all the rockets. So we are where space technology started. That's our pride and joy. So I've pretty much lived here all my life, and I love it here. I don't see myself really going anywhere else. I like to travel, but I'll probably end up living here for the rest of my life. So I did work as an engineer for many years. I know that's something that you did not know until just recently. I was in the engineering computer science field for many years. And then as I had children and my children were starting to get a little older, I actually retired when my husband, when his salary started going up and we were making enough to afford me to be able to retire, I stopped working so I could spend more time with my kids and was heavily involved in their activities for many years. And then once they started getting older, and actually my son's senior year was when I really started getting into the fitness aspect of my life. So that's when I started going back to working out, and that's what eventually drove me to become a fitness instructor, which I started out with spin. I actually started out in the Les Mills RPM program, which is their version of spin. And then after I did that, I went on and got my Group X certification, which gives me the capability to teach basically any kind of a fitness class. I mean, obviously I can't do a Zumba or something that's, licensed like that. I would have to go get their certification. But so I've gone on and I've taught step. I do a class right now called 30-30, which is a spin, and it's a 30-minute spin and then a 30-minute strength, which that's my absolute favorite. I love that class. I'm also a runner. Running is big in my life, as you know. It's a big passion of mine. So I've run many races, continuing to do so. And so, yeah. So I don't know if that's everything, but that's kind of like a little capsule of my life.
And I have a question. I do have to ask this because, yes, up until recently, I did not even know you had an engineering degree. So
Yes.
I do have to ask, do you think that it's because of where you live? Because I remember having this the first time you told me about NASA being there, and we were talking about running, and it kind of led to that. But it obviously has a massive influence, like where you live and in your town. So do you think that had the influence on you when you were younger to do the engineering degree?
That and my dad, or he was actually my stepdad, but he, I considered him my dad because he was just wonderful and I loved him as a father. He was in the engineering field, and as I was growing up, and I know you had a post about this recently, what did you want to be when you were young? I wanted to be a meteorologist. That's a passion of mine. I love weather. I love the study of weather. But at the time, there was no degree available at the local university to get that. So I talked to my dad about it, and I thought about going into physics because that was the closest thing I could find to a meteorology degree, and I was going to do that. And he sat me down and talked to me, and he said, no, Shannon, you need to get your engineering degree because you'll be doing a lot of the similar work as somebody with a physics degree, but you'll make a lot more money. So, and you will find it easier to find a job. And that panned out to be very true. So that's why I elected to go with the electrical engineering degree. And gradually I ended up working much more in the computer science field, which I loved. I was in a lot of database administration and programming, and I really enjoyed that. So, but
wise words.
It's and this town is very engineering and computer heavy. It's still really easy to get a job here in that field. So,
and it's a town of runners, right? Because this is how that conversation started. Because we were talking about working hours, and I was like, well, does nobody work in where you live?
Oh no, they do. They just run. I know people that get up and run at like 4 a.m. before they go to work. So,
because you have a ton of races there, don't you? You have like lots of races throughout the year, and that was, I think, where I was like, how comes there's so many races at like 3 o'clock on a Wednesday?
And there's a lot of elite runners here. There were a couple of guys local here that almost qualified for the Olympics. So it's a big thing here. It's a huge sport here. Yeah.
I still, even now after talking to you about this so many times, I can't actually get my head around what it would be like to live somewhere where there is that kind of community over something. And like, I know there's a lot of competition is going to be, because you're going to have people of all different stages and all different abilities, but it's just this community, and like, you probably can't help but be involved, and you probably can't help but be excited about it. And I think that's great. I can't imagine. I don't know anywhere. Please, somebody, if you know there's somewhere like that in the UK, please tell me, but I'm not aware of this. I love it.
Yes.
Okay. So running, group exercise, teaching, spin, all these things, a lot of cardio, a lot of exercise over the years.
Yes.
When was it? Like, what year was it when you got certified?
I got certified in Les Mills RPM in 2013, right at the end of 2013. So,
okay, so not too long ago.
No.
It doesn't seem like too long ago. So, so we're going to talk about stress, the impact it has on your body. Specifically, I want to go back to the summer of 2016, because that was when we started to talk more about stress and the impact it was having on your body.
Yes.
So can you just share with everybody what a typical week was like for you that summer?
Oh dear. Yes, it was crazy. At that point in time, I was either teaching or coaching. Now, my gym has what we call team training, which is like small group personal training. So instead of working one-on-one with a personal trainer, you'll have groups of anywhere from like 6 to 20 people. And when it goes above about 10, they'll have 2 coaches in there, because they don't want, you got to be watching for form and make sure nobody gets hurt. But we had very, very big team training sessions going on at that time. So, and they still do. I'm just not a part of it right now. But so I was doing 2 of those a week. I was helping coach or coaching in full 2 of those a week. And I had at least 5 classes of my own going on at the time, including step and spin. So, and part of the time too, at the end of the summer, I was doing a Couch to 5K program at the gym. So there were weeks when I would coach, or I would teach and coach up to 11 classes a week. And
that's like a equivalent of 11 hours. Yes. Maybe.
Yes. 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 And it was eating my life. I mean, because you have to take into account also that there's planning that goes into some of those. Now I can do a lot of spin choreograph in my head. If I hear a song, I can kind of think about it and then I can choreograph it in my head because I've gotten so used to doing it. But step took me time outside of the gym to choreograph because I can't just do that in my head. I had to work it out and practice it. So there were hours spent getting those classes ready. So, you know, and then people were asking me to sub for them because of course everybody's taking their vacations during the summer. And I was Miss Yes Woman at that time. And I would never say no to anybody. If I could do it, I was going to do it, you know, and
Why?
just.
So you're on the spot right now.
You know, because I didn't want anybody to get mad at me. And it's so silly. It's just so silly. I don't know why I thought they would, you know, but I did. And so I was always trying to make everybody happy, always putting myself second and always saying yes. And that started really taking its toll and burning me out. So yeah, that was my summer. I didn't really have a summer because I felt like I was living at the gym.
And I think that's the thing. I would hazard a guess that people on the outside of the fitness industry looking in would perhaps say, as a trainer or somebody who is working in that environment, somebody like you have so much passion within exercise. It really is part of your day and life. But it doesn't necessarily mean that you have any time to do your own exercise. Sometimes you have spent so much time, energy doing things for others. I certainly feel that. Like it's really, you know, I've been very honest. Like I struggle to plan for myself a workout because I'm like, this person, that person, this person, classes. It's the time and energy it takes to write that class out, decide on the music. And when you are a recovering perfectionist like myself,
yes,
it takes even longer because you want it to be perfect. Like I could not, like the thought of going into a class and not having the right music or having the right session and the fear of not being able to teach them what they need, that really puts the fear of God in me. And I love the fact that you've shared, you know, saying yes, like that movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey. Like I feel like we talked about that before. It was like that was who you were. It was like saying yes to everyone. We all do it. We, you know, people pleasers out there. We do it often in ways that we don't even recognize. Like it's not even sometimes about saying yes. It may just be not standing up and saying, actually, no, I don't want to do that, or I want to do this instead. We often do that, and it's, as you said, it's a case that it feels silly now. But at the time it was very real.
yes.
And it's like, it's that fear of I have to look a certain way to other people. And I think so many people go through that. So thank you for sharing that because,
oh yes,
you know, it was a lot. And 11 hours, also the other thing to remember is, guys, 11 hours in the gym, you don't get to do like 3 hours back to back. Often you'll do like an hour with like 4 hours and then an hour.
That's right.
You know, you're back and forth from the gym. And so it's not like a work day where you'll do, because it's like 11 hours. That's not difficult. It's not 11. That's 11 hours of actually being in the studio doing it. Then you've got the hours behind that planning, and then you've got the time getting back and from and the time spent in between.
That's exactly right. And my, you know, it's a 25-minute drive for me each way to the gym. So that's almost an hour, you know. That adds up.
It does add up. I mean, I'm like 10 minutes from my gym, and even then it's like still, you know, it happens. Yeah. Okay. So later in 2000, so this was like summer of 2016.
Yes.
And then later in 2016, you actually left the gym. You left working at the gym. You still went.
I sure did. Yes.
Actually,
yes.
You took some time off from the gym as well, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
And you took a few months off. What changed in these few months? Like when you left the gym, what was kind of the mindset there, and what really transformed during those months off?
When I left, I was just completely burned out. And I just knew that if I didn't leave, it was to the point where I was hating going to the gym. Let's put it that way. I didn't want to be that way because I love the people at the gym. Don't get me wrong. It's not, I didn't hate seeing them, but it wasn't a good thing when I was just getting up and not looking forward to going and teaching my classes. And that was not a place where I had ever wanted to be. So when I started feeling that way, I knew it was time for me to take a break and get away for a while. And it was impacting my training for my races. And that's another thing that I didn't want to happen. And I didn't have the energy left to train anymore because that takes time too. And it's also hard on your body. And when you're teaching all these other classes, you can't go do 1-2 hours of spin or an hour of spin and an hour of step and then go out and run 30 minutes or an hour. It's not going to happen. I mean, you're talking tons of cardio. We're talking cardio bunny here, big time. So yeah, so I had to get away. So I think I believe I stopped in November, if I'm remembering correctly.
It was November. It was around Thanksgiving, I think.
Yes. And that was a good time too, just because we were coming into the holidays, but it wasn't that made me quit. It just was, it seemed like the right time because I knew I was burned out, and boy, it really made a difference. I mean, just getting that break, my body had a chance to break. For a while there, I just basically didn't do much of anything. I just needed to just take a pause from exercise as a whole and let myself recover. Cause I really think, I may have just done some serious damage for a while. I'm not anything that I couldn't recover from, but I just think almost like you can go into like an adrenal failure,
yes.
That kind of a situation. And I really believe I was there. I mean, I wasn't sleeping good. You just get overtired to the point where your mind doesn't shut off, and you need to just get away from it all. So once I did that and got away from it for a while, I started getting more enthusiastic again. I felt the desire to go back after a few months, and then I was able to go back to the gym, and tell them that I wanted to come back, but I wanted to come back on my terms, not teaching 5 classes of spin a week or whatever. And they accepted that. So yeah. I wasn't the yes woman. I was, telling them this is what I want to do. And it worked out. Yes.
And that's so good. And I think it's really important, in which I think you just said this about cardio. Like, you like cardio.
I do.
But there can sometimes be too much.
Yes.
Like, there can especially when it's a combination of, as you say, when you have something that you love that fills your passion, you're running, for example, but your job was impacting your ability to do that. That is no different to, let's say, someone watching this who is working in an office, but is having the energy sucked out of them every day for whatever reason, and they're not sleeping. That's the same, like, it's all the same thing. So if you are doing something in your life, and okay, I've always said this, I always share Shannon's story, and I'm like, I know that everyone can go and leave the job. I'm not crazy, but I do think it would help. But I think it's so important. I've heard from so many women who have gone, I left the work and I lost like 20 pounds, or I left work and I did this. And I'm like, yeah, because you know what? Working, no matter what you do, can be considered like traumatic, because it's that period of time where you are like working and working and working. Then if you have kids, you may have marriage, whatever else is going on, it's like super stressful. And too many people are doing jobs they don't get fulfillment from, they're not passionate about, and you loved your job. It was really, you wanted it to be great, but it was like just too much.
Yep.
And it was literally, and you came out of it, were able to look back in like a bird's eye view and say, okay, I can see where we went wrong here. I'm going to go back. And I wasn't surprised when you said you were going back. I was like, yeah, I was kind of like, cool. But I remember what you said when you left, and I was like, so what are you doing? I don't know. I was like, so what are you going to fill your days? I don't know. I'm just going to read. I'm like,
but I was okay with that. I was okay not knowing. Yes. I just needed that break, and I knew my body needed that break. So
it's a thing that Tim Ferriss talks about in his book 4-Hour Workweek. He talks about them like mini retirements throughout your life.
Yep.
Like, I think that's really, I think that's kind of what that was. The mini retirement.
Exactly. Yeah. So
good.
Yeah.
So as you said, you're a self-proclaimed cardio bunny, But recently, this year, 2017, you have picked up some heavy stuff, like started lifting all the things.
Yes.
You started lifting and you started lifting heavy. So why? Like, what made you decide to start doing it?
I just felt like I needed to change it up. I felt like it would improve my running, and I just felt like I needed that, and just from different research I had done, and it was just something I wanted to give a try. And I had a really bad taste in my mouth about strength training. I'll just put this out here because
I tried to get to do it many times.
No, and it's not you, but of course it's not you, because I love you, but it's just because, and gosh, I mean, I hate to say this, but a lot of people at the gym love Les Mills body pump. Now, I have nothing against Les Mills. Obviously, I'm certified in Les Mills RPM is one of my things, but I don't like that program. I do not like it. You know, they're all about the rep effect. Well, to me, that is boring. It's just boring to me. I'm sorry. So
I'm totally with you. I agree, and I apologize to anyone.
Me too.
Like, but
because there are a lot of people at my gym that love that class, and I mean those are the most popular classes at our gym, but it's not for me. So I've done it before. That was one of the first classes I ever did when I went back to the gym back in 2012. But I never saw results from it. And exactly. So that's part of the reason why I stopped strength training for a while, because that had just put a bad taste in my mouth. And I was like, I don't want to do this again. But then I got hooked up on, I think it was Instagram. I think I found Chrissy King, and I found her power conditioning. So I thought, I'm going to give this a try. And I have loved that program. It is so good. I mean, it's short. It's to the point. You can mix it up, which I've had to do. It's very easy to follow. And it's given me some really good results. I think I've doubled my weights, and in some cases tripled. Like I started, and this is going to sound like not much, I'm sure, to some people, but when I started bench pressing, I was doing like 25 pounds. I think I can now get 75 pounds easily for 25 reps, no problem, which feels pretty good to me. So, I mean, that may still sound small to some people, but
it doesn't sound small to me, but like, it doesn't matter the number. What it is the trend, the change.
Exactly.
Like, that's 25 to 75. It doesn't matter if it's 25 to 75 or 75 to 125.
Exactly. It's the fact that I tripled my weights, and I'm able to do so much more now. And I love that program. And it's, you can keep doing it over, and you can mix up the modules, and you can increase your weight, and it's fun. I've really enjoyed it. And it doesn't take long to do it. You can do it in less than an hour easily. You can just do part of the modules and do it in 20 or 30 minutes. So that's what I like about it.
Yeah, I think that's really critical, because so many times we get hung up on like having to follow the rules. We have to follow it exactly as it is. Now, here's the thing, like with power conditioning, for example, that program, so shout out to Chrissy. I will
yes
here as well, because I know as we're recording this, she's currently got it on offer again, but when this goes out, I don't know whether it will be. So if it is,
okay,
put a link to it, because I also have the program. But I think it's important to, when you're first starting something like this, if you are completely new to lifting, then you probably should follow exactly as it is. But once you feel more confident, then both you and I would be pretty confident with. For me, I'd probably follow the rules just because I'd have some consistency. But you can go back, you can do different things, you can see it. The point is with lifting weights, in particular, is that the progression is the weight, the difference. Like, it's not necessarily, it's about the numbers, but it's like, it doesn't matter what the starting weight was. It matters how much you progress to. Exactly. And I remember seeing, because I didn't even know you had the program, and I remember it was on Chrissy's page. I saw schedule transformation, and there was like this big bicep, and I was like, hang on a second, and I sent you a message. I was like, where did this bicep come from? So yeah, I mean, the transformation, as somebody who, you still run though, right? You still run.
Yes. Lots. Yes.
So you can do both. And cardio gets such a bad rap, but the reality is cardio isn't bad for you. It just doesn't always, if you're looking to lose fat, it may not be the perfect solution. But if you love cardio, do cardio. Like if running and getting outside, feet on the pavement is like your therapy, don't give it up just because someone is telling you that you shouldn't be doing XYZ. Like I always, you have to enjoy whatever you're doing.
Exactly. But the strength training has definitely, it's helped with my running. I have seen that. I mean, just like this half marathon that I did this past Sunday, it was a tough half marathon because it was all trails. There was 2,000 feet of elevation gain. It was hard, but I felt good throughout it. So I think a good part of that is all the strength training, because within the strength training, you get core building as well. And having a strong core is a big plus when you're a runner. So.
And we both hate working our cores.
I know we do, but it's important.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Part of my body I hated. So
yes.
Your strength training, you're still running.
Yes.
We recently spoke about this big, and it's pretty big, goal that you have planned. Yes. And I'm all about the goal setting at this time of year. This is going up December. I will have already set my goals by that point. I'm like, need to really pull my finger and do it. But share with everyone what your big goal is.
Yes. So my big goal, and it will actually start next month in November because it coincides with my birthday. I will turn 54 on November 5th, which is basically in 2 weeks. And my big goal is to run 55 races before I turn 55.
55 races, guys. And see, and I thought this was, when you told me this, and I'm like, yeah, okay. There was no doubt in my mind that you can do it. Like, I know that you can do it. But then you said to me, you're like, that's more than one race a week. And I was like, oh, yeah. Like, yeah. To me at that point, I was like, that is more than one race a week. But you're definitely in the right place for this because there's so many races around where you are. So why this goal?
Well, I actually got it. The inspiration hit me because of somebody else that I know. There is somebody that I met at a race that I've done for a couple of years. And then I went up and did this race called Mobile, M-O-Bell. It's at Montgomery Bell State Park in Tennessee, and that's where the Mobile comes from. And that was where I was originally going to run my 50K this year, but it didn't happen because I got hurt, so I did a half marathon instead. But there's the race director there who I have now become friends with. Her name is Courtney. She, I found out, was attempting to break the Guinness Book of World Records record this year for running the most half marathons in 1 year. So
how many is that?
Well, I think it's 168, and I don't know if she's going to get there, but she's run like around 130 so far. So she's done
130 half marathons since January.
Yes. She's amazing. And what's cool about her is she's very back of the pack friendly. So she's like me, she doesn't care. You don't have to be like Speedy Gonzalez to run, she's not all about the runner. You don't have to run all the time. If you're a walker, she's cool with that. All the races that she is the race director for have really long finish times. So, if you want to go walk them all, you can walk them all. That's what I love about that. But anyway, she is who inspired me to set a goal of 55 before 55. And I thought, I can't do a Guinness Book of World Record, but I can certainly do this, because if she can do that, I can certainly do this. And
55 before 55. Please tell me you have coined this hashtag on Instagram. I'm like,
I haven't yet, but I'm going to, yes.
I feel like we need a website. We need like Instagram handle. Facebook
I know.
page.
I've considered setting up a Facebook page, and I might still do it, but it's not there yet. And I think I already have at least 12 races I've signed up for next year, 12 or 13. And one weekend I have 2 half marathons in the same weekend, and I'm thinking I'm an idiot, but I'm gonna go for it and do it. So
yeah, I mean, like, every time I talk to you about running, I'm always taken back to like when in my running days, and you always like make me want to get out there and start running again, because I think to myself, why don't I? And I know it's because it's not as easy as it was back then, but then like nothing is easy. And like, I'm like, I should go live. I need to come move to where you are and I can run with you. But it's that. And I love the fact that, the race director, so Courtney, like, if she's the race director, they have longer finish times. Like, that is so inclusive and so important, because so many people feel like they're excluded. I mean, here we have like charity races, in which case you can like walk, and it's usually 5 or 10 Ks.
Right.
There are more races in like the city center, in which you have to finish in a certain time, and there's like half marathons. If you don't get to the halfway point in X time, you're basically removed. I'm like,
yeah,
it seems like a little unfair. Like, what if there's only 2 people? Like,
yeah, exactly.
It's unfair.
No, I agree with that.
I think it excludes people from putting their health first.
It does.
You know, if they've trained for it, they should be allowed to just do it. So
it does. I mean, I get that sometimes you have to get off the roads and stuff, but let them finish on the sidewalks or something. Just, so that's why. And while I'm still healthy enough to do it, I'm going to go do it. So,
okay. So guys, by the time we're already a month in by the time this show airs. How many races have you got between November 5th and December 4th?
I think there's at least 5 or 6 in there somewhere. Yeah, I can think.
In a month.
Yeah. Because there's a couple on Sundays there. Most of the time I can only find Saturday races. Sunday races are harder to find, but during the holidays they pop up more, because you have all the little reindeer runs and all this stuff. So they'll throw in some Santa stuff. It's a good time. I've got one on a Tuesday night, actually. There's a botanical gardens here, and they set up Christmas lights. It's called Galaxy of Lights. It's really.
Did you do this last year?
I did.
That's why I recognize it. Okay.
Yes. But I did the 5K last year because I didn't have to work then, because my spin class is on the night that they do the 5K, but I'm going to do the 3K. They have a 3K on Tuesday night, and it's going to count because I did not say I had to run half marathons. I'm just going to run any distance for, 55 or 55. So
I think nobody's going to question the fact that it's 55 races.
I just want to get it done.
Yeah. Oh my God. So amazing. I love it. I was so excited when you told me. I was like, yeah, amazing goal. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe I'll start running.
I'm excited.
Okay. So as you can see, like the difference between 2016, we're now coming to the end of 2017. It's like a vast difference. You went back to work, being at the gym, and did it on your terms. And you're like, Shannon and I connect all the time. So I often see you'll be like, I have my leisure walk today. I had a nap. I did this, that, and the other. And so we still stay in touch with regards to like all the different things you're doing. So you know better than anybody that stress relief and self-care is critical. And you implemented this so well. Even when you struggled, you implemented it. You tried everything. So I really love it if you could share with everybody 3 ways in which they can implement self-care for free.
Yes.
We think of it, it's going to cost money, it's going to take all this time, but like
no.
3 ways that you could do it.
No, I'd say number 1, make time for yourself. And every one of these things I'm going to tell you has been a struggle for me, but make time for yourself. I mean, it's so important. Me time is not selfish. Take that time. I know people think it is, and I used to. I mean, especially when my kids were here, which my kids are grown now, married. But, find that time. Like when you get up in the morning, sit, have that coffee, have that tea, whatever you drink. Just even if you just sit for 10 minutes quiet with nothing, just find that time to center yourself and get ready for the day. Or if it's at the end of the day, just take some quiet time and just be. That's what I like to say, because it makes all the difference for me, just my mental state. Just have some quiet time and some me time just to get away and focus on myself. So for me, that's number 1. 2, I would say get your sleep. I don't think people realize how important sleep is. And I know people that'll just say, oh, I can make it on 3 hours of sleep a night. Nope. Sleep is so important to, it's so restorative for your body and your mind, and you need that rest. So I make it a point now to get in the bed. I'm usually in bed by 9 p.m. every night. And I think it's also important to just don't take your cell phone to bed with you. Don't do it.
I'm still guilty of this.
Well, try not to. It's
I
too
know.
hard. It is too hard to pick that up. And then you get sucked back into social media land or playing games or whatever. And the next thing you know, you look at the clock and it's 2 hours later, you know, and
I
you're like,
turn it over, like I have it there because it's my alarm, but I turn it over face down. I have it on
okay.
silent. And yeah, like basically once I'm in bed, I don't look at my phone.
Oh, that's good.
But I turn it down and I kind of turn it over, sorry. And I just, because I say to myself, I think this is critical. Everybody, I don't care what your goal is in life, but I think it's important that whatever it is, it's going to, like you're opening up Instagram and there's an app you can actually, I know seems a bit counterproductive, but there's actually an app you can get which tells you how many times a day you open that Instagram feed or that Facebook feed.
Oh, wow. I didn't know
yeah,
that.
I think it's free. I can't remember what it's called. I'll find it and I'll tag it in the show notes.
Yes.
But it will show you how many times we open up our Instagram feed. And obviously you get those notifications which prompt you. It's like, come on, open me. Somebody likes you.
Yeah.
But sometimes we'll open it without even the notification. We just open it for the sake of doing something. And whatever it is you're opening it for, it can wait. Because I will tag on to this. You don't need to open your phone the moment you wake up.
That's right.
Like, especially if you're in the entrepreneur field and are like looking to build a business, have some boundaries with your time. 6 a.m., you don't need to be checking your Instagram following and your Facebook numbers and your emails, and all that stuff can wait until business hours.
Right.
Begin. Like, even just get up and have, as you said, have a cup of coffee and be like,
yes,
important.
Exactly. And my number one, well, this would be number 3 on the list, but number 1 is learn to say no. Don't be a yes woman or yes man, please, because, and I say this from experience, you know, people are not going to get mad at you if you say no to a request. They will get over it. And if they don't, then don't worry about it. It's not worth it.
Yeah.
So
definitely.
You are just as important as they are. Your time is just as important as their time is. And they will find somebody else to take care of whatever it is that they need taken care of, or they can wait.
And if they don't, it's not even your problem.
Nope.
Like,
that's right.
There's a big, you know, this was really interesting when we talked about this before, because I certainly was the yes woman when I was employed. So when I was doing my 9 to 5, I definitely set myself up for that like problem, because I was the only one who knew how to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was, you know, if I was there, then it was fine. But if I had 2 weeks off, like a 2-week vacation, I'd come back to like 300 emails and nothing had been done. And there was all these problems, and it'd be like, well, we didn't know what to do. And I'm like, I wasn't even the boss. And so when like this year I decided to work at the gym, I kind of cooled to our conversations, and I was like, I'm going to be really, really like stubborn. Basically, it's like, I have my own business. I have a son. I want to spend time with him. I created this so that I could do that. I'm not going to say yes to all the hours. I'm not going to try and people please and help you at every opportunity. Like, I want you to be successful. I want you to be have a business, and I will help where I can, but it'll be on my terms. And I think people pleasing is so huge. You talked about it earlier about saying yes. It's the way I like to think about it, the way I say it with clients is, and I think I probably said this to you at some time, is the way you treat your time with other people is how they will then treat you. So if you're constantly saying yes, bending over backwards, agreeing to do everything and anything, they will continue to ask.
That is so
now
true.
They have someone that will do everything. They don't have to think about it. Shannon will do it. It's fine. Melanie will do it.
That is so true. And that's exactly what took me into the rabbit hole in summer of 2016, you know?
And what will often happen with that as well is, if you are then the person who is saying yes, it will then become an expectation. If you suddenly, what will happen, you may find, like, this isn't to put you off, but you may find if you turn around and say, well, I can't do that, they'll get annoyed, because it's like, well, why? But you can do it. And that's why it's really important. I think any new venture where there's that potential, if you know that about you, if you are like self-aware and know that you are a people pleaser and that you want to be seen as helpful, you can be helpful without neglecting yourself. Like, you can still be good at your job without having to do everything for everyone else.
That's right.
It's really, love it. So number 1 was take time for yourself.
Yes.
Even if it's just 10 minutes in the morning.
Yes.
I practice this all the time. This is not the first time we've talked about this on Lose the Land. You know, it's important to have that time. And like, don't be like, oh, but I had, like, there are excuses of like,
Mm-mm.
oh, I can't because I have a son. I get up a bit earlier, or, if he's in bed, I'll let him sleep in. I'm like,
Right.
I'm taking 10 minutes for coffee. And find those 10 minutes when you can. It doesn't have to be first thing in the morning. Find
Right.
when you can. And so the second thing was get sleep. Really important. Sleep is hugely important. Whether it's fat loss or not, it's hugely important.
Yes.
Because as you said, it's the only time your body actually stops and restores itself. That's why you don't need detoxes and like fatty juices and wraps and stuff, because your body can do it itself, and it does it when it sleeps.
That's right.
And your sleep deprivation will affect your food habits and whether you
yes. Oh, yes.
Yes. And then the third one was don't say yes. So be really good at saying no.
Yes.
I'm not sure that's how you worded it, but yeah. Okay.
That's the right thing, though.
Get really good at saying no. There we go.
Exactly.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay. So by the time this airs, I will have convinced Shannon to do a Facebook page and an Instagram website. 50 by 50, 55 by 55.
That will be a hashtag.
Yes, it will be a hashtag. So share with everyone where they can kind of keep track of all your running escapades, keep up with like what you're up to race wise for the next year.
Yes. I post mostly on my Instagram, which is Shannon G63 or at Shannon G63.
I will share.
Yes, it's also my page where I post about my pets, but it's more running. It really is more running, I think, than pets, but every now and then you'll see a cute pic of a pet come up too. Yeah. So, but I'd love to have anybody follow along, and I may, like I say, I might put a Facebook page together for the 55 by 55. And if I do, I'll be sure and post about that on the Instagram page.
If you have, guys, I'll tell you, I'll make sure.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on, Lose the Flat. It's been so much fun to have you on here because it's, you are a friend. You're somebody I've worked with really closely. We've known each other for such a long time. And I've just loved watching the last year of seeing things transform for you. And I really do feel like, guys, if there is anyone who lives, I'm not perfect to this by any stretch of the imagination, but if there's anyone I know who really truly lives by rest-based living, it's this woman here. She does it and she knows how to do it. And I think it's incredible because you so were like, I need this to change.
Mm-hmm.
And for so many people, there's that moment when you're like, I'm fed up of feeling tired. I'm fed up of feeling this. And I think that was just it. It was like, I don't. And you're so hardworking. And I think that's what's really great is that you are hardworking. You're willing to try everything, find what works for you. And that was been amazing. So I'm just so grateful I've been a part of it. And thank you for being here.
Yes. You have been a huge part of it. So I don't think a lot of the changes would have happened without you. So this has been great fun. So thank you for having me.
No problem. Thank you. So guys, I will make sure to link to Shannon's Instagram over in the show notes. I will break down today's conversation into some easy digestible paragraphs along with her 3 ways in which you can implement self-care for free. Super easy, doesn't cost any money, and it will change your life. So head on over to follow Shannon to get more of her running and cats and dogs. But make sure you follow her to see all of what she's up to for the next year, 55 by 55. Thank you, Shannon, for being a part of it.
Thank you. Yay.
Thank you so much for watching this week's episode of Lose, Live, Learn. I hope you enjoyed listening to Shannon's story as much as I enjoyed interviewing her. As I said, she is a complete and badass, and I love the fact that she has this really amazing goal that she is so passionate about achieving, and I know that she's going to do it, and I'm super excited to keep track of her. So if you want to follow Shannon, make sure you go click over on Instagram, follow her there, and you can also get to know her more in our free community, Lose, Live, Learn on Facebook. Just search Lose, Live, Learn in Facebook and you'll find us. Come over and join, say hi. It's a group of amazing, empowered women just like Shannon who want to really maximize their life, love what they're doing, and just be more and really enjoy themselves. Thank you so much again. I'll see you next week. Bye.